Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to drill down a little bit deeper into the report designer features for the new analytics module. So I'm going to click on analytics. Takes me to the home page of the analytics module, which shows me the list of reports. And as you can see, it is fully integrated within the new AgilePoint NX portal experience. I'm going to minimize the top menu so that I have a little bit more real estate. The first thing you will notice is on the side there is a navigation menu. First one is reports, where I can see a list of reports, which is by default showing up right now as the default page. You can create a new report. You can save something as a template so that it can be used as a starting point for creating new reports. So you can see the list of templates over here. Similarly, if you hover over the dashboard menu, you can see a list of available dashboards, as well as you can create a new dashboard and the help link. So as I said, by default, when you go to the reports module, what you see right now is the list of reports available to you, which is categorized over here. So you see, you can browse the reports by types, categories, subcategories over here. So here are the categories. If you drill down into one of these reports, you click on this arrow button, you can see a little bit of reporting metadata around it. So you can see who is the report owner, who created it, who edited it last, how many times it has been viewed, average rendering time, how many versions of the reports have been published. So if I go over here, this was one of the sample reports which was by default published by the service account, but then later on I changed it twice. You can even copy the previous version of the report and make it the latest version. So you have all those options as well. Similarly, it tells you the created date, last edited date, and last viewed date. So it gives you all sorts of metadata around this report and a bunch of actions. If you see, there is an open a report action, which will open it in report viewer. You can edit it. There is a quick edit mode where there is a detailed designer, report designer as well. You can copy a report. You can move a report from one category to another. You can print a report. You can export it in various formats: Word, Excel, PDF, CSV, XML, JSON. You can export the report definitions and query execution, and as an iframe as well. You can email the report as an embedded report in the email body, as a link or as an attachment. You can subscribe to a report as well, which I'm going to cover later, and delete the report. If you click on open the report, it renders the report right over here, and then it again gives you some of those same options which you saw on the report listing page. You can apply certain sort of filters as well. So here is just a sample report. So now what we are going to do is we are going to go to the list view and look at some of the report designer features. So I'm going to create a new report. So what you see is it's a wizard driven kind of an experience. You can obviously minimize this side navigation menu if you wanted to get more screen real estate, but I'm going to keep it open for now. The first time it has open, when I move to one of the subsequent tabs, it will be auto minimized. So I'm going to first select my data source. So if you see over here, what you can do is in the data source window, you can view and search and select data sources to be used in the report. So I can search over here. I can say bring down only distinct records. I have various data sources available. So I have an adventure work database, a AgilePoint data entity, a Northwind database, a wide world importers database, and an AgilePoint workflow database. So I have these categories already defined. I can drill down into individual categories if I want to. Now I can select what tables will be used in my current report. So I can say, for example, I want to use maybe supplier and territories, right? So if I go over here, I see a supplier and I can select territories. Now these two tables, they have no joins defined between them. Now because I am running it as an advanced report designer, I was able to do this sort of selection. If I was running it in a citizen developer mode, once I select the first table, it only shows me the tables which are associated or related to that table. Now, if I'm an advanced developer, I can always go in and say I want to manually define a relationship. So I can do something like where in the Northwind database, in the supplier table, city is equal to, in the Northwind database, go to the territories table, and then there is a territory description. So I can define my joins manually like this as well. If I wanted to do something different, maybe in the relationship one, I'm going to delete all of these, and I'm going to now add product table and order detail table. So I'm going to say add a product table and then the order detail table. Now there is already a join which is defined between both of these. And if you see over here, there it is order detail, there is a product ID column, and in products also there is a product ID column. So it automatically detected that join, but because again I am in an advanced developer mode, I can further refine my join if I wanted, and I can add a sub clause. So I will say and in Northwind database order detail quantity is equal to in Northwind database products units on order. So if I scroll down, I have units on order. So I can further refine my joins if I wanted. If I wanted, I can also give these joins an alias so that I could have used alias instead of the table names over here. So that was more about the report designer, the relationship builder as such. I'm going to delete these two, and I'm going to select two tables from here. One of them is order and another one is order ID, order detail, sorry. And I have a predefined relationship between these two. Next, I'm going to move to the design tab. The moment I go to the design tab, this menu is automatically minimized so that I have most of the real estate. I can further minimize this as well if I wanted. So what you see on this window is the data sources which I selected in the relationship tab. So I have an order detail table and an order table, and it has a list of fields. If I select on any of these fields, its properties is shown in the field properties window over here. So I can see what is the data type, what table it belongs to. Also, if you see, there is a symbol next to it which tells me its data type. Now next I can drag and drop something over here and then start defining my filter conditions as well. So I can say something like ship country, and I can edit this if I wanted a better looking label, and I can specify my condition that if ship country is equal to maybe Argentina, and that's my default filter. So I can define filter like this. I can also define multiple filters. So I can say if ship country is equal to Argentina and ship city is equal to maybe this one, then you use the filter. So as you can see, it did the cascading drop down. It showed me only the list of cities available in Argentina in this case. If I go to the advanced configuration, there is a whole lot of filter operators which are available, the comparison operators, the equivalence operator, field comparison, string comparisons. So you can perform multiple operations if you wanted, and you can decide when to make a filter visible, whether it is required or not, whether it is cascading or not, what sort order is the drop down following. You have complete control over those kind of settings as well. Also, you can specify how is the filter logic going to work. So is it like bring me only the results which belong to country equal to this and ship and city equal to this, then I would say 1 and 2. So if you see, this has been given a filter ID 1, this has been given a filter ID 2. So I can provide my filter logic. I can click on validate syntax, and it shows me that this syntax is valid. So I can define my own filters. I'm going to clear the filters for now. I'm going to go ahead and delete these. Next, we are going to look at the report body itself. So as you can see on the report body, one report part is already added by default. And there are various report parts which I can add in that space. I can add a chart, which has a lot of chart types, which I'm going to cover later in the demo. I can create a form style report part, a gauge, a grid, and a map. So I'm going to start with a simple one, which is chart in this case. So let's go ahead and click chart. As you can see, it immediately transformed into a configuration window. I have set it up so that I can see a live preview as well. If I didn't want to see it, I can expand this to the left and the preview would be gone, and I have a little bit more real estate to do the configuration. And I'm going to keep it that way. I can also snap it to the grid. What it does is that when I have one report part and I add a second one, it immediately gets snapped to the available space on the next to the existing chart. But I'm going to just go ahead and start doing the configuration for this. So if I hover over the top configuration bar, it gives me some options. If you see, I can name it. I can say this is going to be a pie chart, and I can specify how many records do I want to bring back. I have a full screen option. I can test the whole thing in full screen. I can switch to a preview mode, so it will show me a preview. Right now I'm in configuration mode, and I can delete this report part as well. You can also get access to this menu by right clicking on this bar as well. So the same option shows up not just on the at certain times. If you are working with a lower resolution machine, you can just right click, so that even if this is not in the visible space. Okay, so for every report part, I can set up a title, a description, and then corresponding fields for that report part. So in this case, this is a pie chart, so there is a label and values and separators which I can set it up. So I'm going to just do some simple configuration over here. Next, I can go to the chart type and select what kind of a chart do I want, and it shows me a quick preview as well. So there's a line chart, there's a column chart, bar, area chart, pie chart, funnel chart, donut chart, combination chart. You can combine multiple of these, which I'm going to use in one of the future demos. Tree maps, heat maps, bubble, scatter, waterfall, and sparkline. I'm going to select a column chart in this case, or maybe a bar chart. Let's select a bar chart. So let's rename it to a bar chart. And then I'm going to say wrap shipping country to the label, y-axis, and the count of order IDs. So I want to see the count of orders per country. By default, when I dragged and dropped this field, it showed me that it is showing me a sum of order IDs. So I can quickly go to when I have the field selected, it shows me the field properties. I can go over here and I can quickly change the function. So I can say this is going to be a count of order IDs, and I can just say maybe a display name is number of orders. I have a lot of other options which I can configure over here. I can specify the sorting option. I can give it some colors, alternate text colors, or if I go to the chart level, the report part level, there's a lot of other options. So I can say I want to add a border which will be visible. It will be black, or I can give a particular color using a color picker. I'm going to just keep it as black. In the XY plane, it tells me if I wanted to change any of these. So I'm going to say this will be called ship country. I can specify that this will be Roboto 14 in black color, and it is center aligned. Similarly, number of orders is going to be Roboto 14, and it's middle aligned over here. I can specify the intervals as well. What are the intervals, and those would be picked up. So I'm going to just go ahead and click OK. I can say I want to see certain grid lines, and I can definitely do that. I can say make grid lines available like this. I can apply a theme. So I can select the theme. I can say I want the theme to be Boston Blue, or one of the ones which have been made available out of the box. I can make it multicolor as well. I'm going to just keep it as blue. What is the orientation of my x-axis labels and y-axis labels? I can select those. I can decide to include a legend which is visible. So I can say, it says that, okay, blue bars are number of orders. I can show the value on top of the bar itself. So you can say show value labels. You can put a regression line as well. I'm going to use it in a separate chart. You have a whole lot of options which you can see over here, right? So I'm done with this one. I'm going to quickly switch to a preview mode. So this looks okay, but I want to reduce the size. So I can reduce the size of this chart a little bit. Now this looks a little bit better to me. So it's just a drag and drop, as you can see. So this one is done. Next, I'm going to add a line chart to it. So let's go ahead and say add a line chart. I'm going to click a chart. In the line chart, I'm going to put ordered. I'm going to just see if it is line chart is selected, but that's the default. I'm going to put order date on my x-axis. If I select the field, I can see field specific property. So it's saying group by order date, and the format to be used is year. So I'm going to only consider the year part of the date. Again, I can configure rest of the properties, but I'm going to leave it as default. And then I'm going to say show me the sum of the freight cost for this thing. So sum of the freight cost for this order. So I'm going to keep it as a line chart. So order date and sum of freight is showing up over here. And maybe if I go to the top, I can say review, say 1000 records. It shows me a little bit more data if it is there. And I can also include maybe a regression line. So it tells me, and then I can specify the color of the regression line, maybe green. It tells me that here, and I can even do a regression type as well. So this is linear line. I can have line, a logarithmic line, so various formats or an exponential one. So I'm going to just select linear. Okay, so I'm done with the configuration of the line chart over here. And I'm again going to reduce it to match the size of the top chart. Now I can start adding a little bit more. So let me do one thing. It's the numbers are looking a little bit overcrowded over here, so I can always go in and say show value labels. I'm going to remove that and move out of the configuration mode. Looks a little bit better. I want to see only 10 records for now. Okay, now I'm going to add a grid. So let's add a grid. In the grid, I'm going to put certain columns. So I'm going to say ship country, order ID, quantity, and unit price. As these two tables are related to each other, you see that okay, a grid has been populated on the other side. And again, I have a whole lot of options which I can configure on the field level. If I have a field selected, I see the field properties. I can go to the chart level. I can see the report part properties. I can use the tabs to navigate as well. And again, I can specify what kind of borders do I want in my grid. So I'm going to say I want either only the outside border or between the lines, or I want both. So I'm going to just say I want both. So you see now it has been changed. I can specify a background color if I want it, alternate row color. So I can say I'm going to use alternate row color for columns and rows, or maybe only rows. So all those are configurable. I can specify an alternate background color as well. I can specify the column text alignment. So it is right now left aligned, but I can say this is going to be center aligned. So I can do that. I'm going to keep it as left aligned. Word wrap. Similarly, for headers, I can specify its font type, font size, and its alignments, whether the header has been to be frozen or not. So while I'm scrolling through, the header would be still frozen if I wanted it that way. Whether the header should be visible in the exported report format. You can also specify separators. In that case, it would have generated multiple tables, which I'm going to actually use in one of my next reports. And you can actually make it a live interactive report as well. You can go and set up a refresh interval, and every few seconds it will keep refreshing this report, so while it is up, and you can always see the latest data. You can do some conditional formatting. You can specify certain rules that as well. I'm going to use that in one of the advanced reports. You can use pagination and page break after each separator, so you can specify those kind of values. I'm going to just go ahead and say this looks good. Now I'm going to just add one more report for the sake of it. I'm going to just say add this one, and I'm going to go for a linear gauge. It supports a simple gauge and a solid gauge as well. I'm going to go for a linear gauge. Again, on the x-axis, I'm going to put ship cities. In the metrics one, I am going to put maybe the sum of freight. So I'm going to drag and drop my freight cost over here. By default, it is sum. I'm going to say just use a format. If I wanted to do a format, I can do it. I can say in thousands, millions, billions. I can do that. I'm going to leave it as default for now. And I'm going to also say that the scale is maybe 500 to maybe 5000. I can put my unit labels. I can put a threshold setting for various colors. So I'm going to say it is static. Anything which is below maybe say 1000, give it green color. Anything which is below 1500, yellow color, and maybe beyond that is red color. So I can add these kind of metrics. And now I can also make use of the separator. So right now you see this is done on the city. Now I'm going to do country as the separator. So now you see it is nicely formatted under Argentina, which all cities are available. So it is showing me those ones. Now I'm going to just quickly go over here and say items per row is 1, so that I can see it a little bit bigger. And I can use pagination over here, like you can see. So now I created a gauge quickly, and I can see these numbers on it. So that's a little bit more on the report side of things. And I'm going to go ahead and click save. Now, before I close the report, one thing I wanted to point out is that you can give report its own name. So I can say this is a demo report. Maybe let's call it first demo. Save it as a report or a template. So again, report is an individual instance. Template can be used for as a base template for creating future reports. Which category do you want to save it in? I can put it in sample reports, or which is an existing category, or I can create my own report category. So if I start typing and if I have permission and press enter, it goes and creates that category for me. And I can put further subcategories if I want it. I'm going to just go ahead and click OK. So it saved my report. Now one of the other things is that I could also set up cross filtering as well. So when I'm clicking on the charts of one particular item, it can further narrow down the charts on the other related charts. So I can just say I want the following to be related to each other. So if I click on one of these, it can filter down for the other ones further if my report filtering is set up that way. I'm not going to do that in this one. I'm going to show that in a subsequent video. So let's look at some of the other report features. At any point of time, I can resize the reports by just getting hold of these handles, and I can move them around. Now next, let's look at the report formatting options. So if I go to the third option over here, so we already designed the report. Now we want to format it. So as you can see, I can add a report header and a footer. And if I do that, it gives me a designer over here. I can add images. I can have a report name. It has some predefined report constants which are already mapped over here. If I didn't want to show those, I can delete it. I can add more items right from here. I can say I want to add images, text, date, time, page number. I can add those. I can even add fields from my report over here or the data source over here. So you can configure your report header and footer options as well. And then you can also put in the report title and description. So if you wanted to put a report level title and description, previously I talked about the chart level one, you can do those as well. Next, we are going to look at the exporting options. So again, you can define your export format. You can set up the margins over here. You can for various device orientations, you can set up margins, whether you want to center it on page while exporting or printing. You can specify those options. Next, you can use the scheduling option. I'm going to show this in a future video because the email this needs an email service to be set up. I'm going to cover this in a future video. And you can define the access levels for this report as well. Once the report has been designed, you can share it with other people. You can say whether you want to share it with everyone, and you can define what others can do and what are these access rights. I'm going to cover that in a minute. Or you can share it with specific role or a user. Now let's talk about these access rights. So there are various access rights available: full access, logged, no access, quick edit, save as, and a view only. If I switch back to one of my PPTs over here, so here is the list of access rights, as you can see. So the one with full access, he can view the report with filter interaction and practically do everything on that report. He would obviously not have the report without any filter because that's only for the logged user. In a quick edit, a user can view the report. He can modify the report in quick edit mode and save as changes in the report. He cannot save it on top of the same report. If you have a save as permission, you can view the report, modify the report in the full designer mode as well as quick edit mode, and you can save as. In the logged mode, all you can do is view the report with no filter interactions. In the view only mode, you can just view the report with filter interaction, and no access, you have no access over here to this report. You can use those. Similarly, on the categories as well, there is access control. So if you have full access, you can view a category and you can save a report in category. Similarly, quick edit can just view the category, save as, logged, view only. They can only view the category. Moving back, the access feature can actually use to change the report owner as well. So if you see right now, I am the owner and I am the only user in this tenant, but I could have searched additional users and change the ownership from here. And as a report owner, I can also rename the report over here. As a report owner, I can see the list of all the people I have shared this report with, and I can also remove those sharings if I want to. So that's a high level overview about the report designer and its features. There's a lot more which I'm going to cover in the next video, where I'm going to create a simple report. Thanks a lot for your time.